Saber fans, it's your old pal, Not Too Sick. And this week we got something real special. We're going to interview some Saber nerd. You nerds out there, we're going to interview you one at a time before we get through the ad. You need to know those Saber nerds. You know, it's good to get to know your fellow Saber enthusiasts because you never know when somebody like Uncle Luke's going to come and strike you down. Or try to strike you down. Ah! That Saber's cool.
I will do what I must. You will try.
This is the bill that made my grandfather the great man he is.
Revenge is not the
My
Jedi
grandfather,
way.
Ahsoka. I guess she's my cousin or something.
Jedi.
Traitor!
Do what I must.
Then you will die.
Grandfather.
Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough.
Yeah, he killed 30 kids with it.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
The weapon of a Jedi Knight. Clumsy or rapid. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
What's up with Ben and Luke? I was trying to kill my people, man. See, there's old, good old Uncle Luke trying to take out my family.
Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
Palpatine's kind of a jerk. What's up, cuz? The dark saber is kind of awesome. You know, I hate to admit this, but Uncle Luke obviously inherited some great skills from my grandfather. Now there's an awesome lightsaber.
You're so right.
You people think I'd put in a clip of Mary Sue beating me in the woods? Fat chance on that. See you next time, suckers.
Greetings, Saber fans. Light them if you got them. So tonight we got a real special guest. I'm so glad that he accepted to come on tonight. This guy, he was in. You've seen him in the ProffieBoard support group. You've seen him in open source Saber forums. You've seen him on the Crucible. He's NoSloppy, aka Brian Connor. This guy helps everybody. You know, when the LGT Saber started proliferating and everybody had a Proffie Saber, I was like, I quit. I can't deal with this anymore. But Brian Connor, he jumped right in there and helped everybody. And not only does Brian Connor help everybody with the LGT Sabers, he's helped normal installers like Solo Sabers and Benji and me with things that we didn't understand about Proffie boards. So without any further ado, let's bring in Brian Connor. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Tom. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
I'll put us here side by side. That'll be a much better
You're over
situation.
there. Nope, you're over there.
It's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and where you came from and all that? And
I didn't come out. I came out of the woodwork. I've always been, I don't know, just a geeky guy like anybody else. I started building sabers. You know what? I think the Force Awakens reawakened or whatever, if you want to say it, something. Because for some reason I jumped on. Oh, I have to have a. I got to have a Graflex and I found like an eBay Master Replicas one, and that was great. Obviously, I just wanted to do, like, I'm a tinkerer, so I was like, can I take this thing apart? Not really, it's gonna break it. So I started getting into sabers. Fast forward however many years, what is it, 8? Like, that was 2016-ish. I think I got my first build done, and then a couple of non-proppy boards. Then I ended up, Shamim was talking about, I think I'm going to start trying out proppy boards. I was like, okay, Shamim's doing it. Let me check it out. And it's, like I said, I'm a tinkerer. The coding just kind of comes naturally to figure it out and play around with it. Some people like to swing and flow with your saber. Some people troop with sabers. I just take sabers apart and put them back together and make them do other things that they don't already do. That's the fun of it for me. Yes, I swing it around. Yes, but like designing a sound font for the correct angular motions and, doing some weathering or whatever customization. I enjoy doing that. So that's kind of me just on the side, hanging out, coding, playing with soldering and a lot of guts of sabers in my spare time, and answering a lot of questions because for some reason I seem to have answers to these things.
Yes, you do. It's funny because we got a lot of viewers in the comments, and I don't know if you can see the comments. Sometimes when I'm on somebody else's StreamYard, I have to log into YouTube so I can see them. But if you do log into YouTube, if you can't see the comments, just make sure you mute your YouTube. But we got Bobby Susanbach, Mountain Sabers, Cinzy, Solo Sabers is in here. So Jeremy's in here. Jared McDaniel, Vet 263 is here. That's awesome. Fernando's here. Titan Gray, Chet Osborne. Chet Osborne's here. Bobby Susanbach, we already said that. So we got quite a few viewers in here. It's amazing. I can tell you, Brian, that this is unusual. That's what kind of a crowd you're attracting. That's how helpful you've been.
Really? Sure.
As soon as I said we're going to have Brian Connor on, and I was telling Brian this last night, and Brian's like, no. And I'm like, oh, yeah, man. As soon as I said I was going to have you on, people's reaction to that was just amazing. I think that you and Frederick and Fernando are like the top 3 in the open source saber community, but I think what y'all are doing out there is fantastic. So I'm definitely honored to have you on. Definitely on.
I just like being active in the community. Just fun. It's cool.
Well,
I like helping people. I like teaching. So if I know knowledge, ultimately it's what it is. It's passing on what you've learned. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here forever and ever. And the more people know, the less answers I got to give out. Other
this
people
is true.
can answer questions. So trust me, it's an advantage to. Am I laggy? I look kind of laggy.
Yeah, you're a little laggy. Every now and then your stream's kind of like internet connection's kind of giving up. It was quavering a little bit during your intro.
That's not cool. All right, I do have a million things.
Well, it could also be. It could be StreamYards too. You know what I mean? StreamYards is kind of crazy sometimes. But anyway, Solo Saber says, yeah, he does have all the answers. And Chet Osborne's like, Brian Connor's been very helpful throughout the years. All that is true. So we know Brian Connor's been helpful, and we're going to try and talk more about sabers tonight. But one thing that we wanted to get into is interrogate Brian Connor a little bit about his background in Star Wars stuff beyond his introduction. So we've got some questions, Brian. We're going to throw some questions at you. And if it spurs conversation or we go down the rabbit hole because of the Bobby Susanbach says, what do you mean he's not going to be here forever? None of us are, Bobby. We're all one step closer to death every day.
A morbid thought, but
yeah.
Someday my kids will have to teach.
Mountain Sabers is thanking you for all the help. So here we go. Where on this planet do you hail from?
I am on the East Coast. I'm in New York. Have been my whole life. So I'm over here now.
Yeah, I saw on your page you were wearing a Rangers jersey, and that's okay.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's unwavering. No matter what pain they bring.
What is your profession? What do you do for your day job, if you don't mind?
No, it's fine. I am happily.
We might be losing Brian.
Are you really? That's so weird. I can close down. Well, if I close down this window, that all of Chrome is going to go bye-bye. Anyway, I'm assuming that my
You're
network
okay
is
right now,
pretty-
Brian?
So what do? I am a video engineer. You do large LED walls, like you go to see a concert and there's a big video wall behind them, in not just, musical venues, but also corporate events and anything really. It's like advanced AV, more or less. We either design a whole control village and build video walls, send signals everywhere, do all camera work, all that kind of stuff. So I'm a video tech, and I've been doing that. I mean, I started in audio. I was an audio guy, and then that got saturated. And plus, I always like that audio was kind of stagnated. And I was like, man, at the time, whatever, like going HD TV was the big thing. I'm like, that's moving forward. And then 3D, even though it didn't stick, it came out. And I was like, oh, that's a new thing. So it was constantly new. It seemed like the industry was moving forward in technology, and I was just hungry. I just loved it. So I built my own projector and stuff like that. So I was always into kind of the video projection and, large scale movies, going to the theater. That's an experience, I'm big on audio visual experience. Like that's my thing. I like that. So that is what I do. Am I skipping? Am I not there?
I'm checking my connection. No, you're there. It's just every now and then, your connection's getting intermittent. I'm trying to check on mine.
Hey, chat.
My connection's really good.
Is Tom clean, or am I the only one laggy, or is Tom also laggy?
Are we both laggy in chat?
Let me kill some apps. Of course, that's what I was thinking before. I don't have anything hungry up. A text editor is not going to make me lag. So
Fernando says he can hear us fine.
Great. So does Jeremy. What's up, everybody? Thanks for stopping by. So what do you want to know? What can I do for you? Tom, you're totally frozen to me. That's not cool.
Brian.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me change some settings. Change my video output. Only doing.
All right, what about now? Yeah. So that was my connection, y'all. It's my connection. So I'm trying to work on everything at the house to get my connection better right now. So I've got the booster on downstairs. And
yeah. Dog hammering the network doorbell or something over and over and over, giving you lag?
No, I just think, sorry about the technical difficulties, y'all. What's happening is we've gone on an hour sooner. So normally, normally at 8:30, kind of everybody's kind of off all the devices, but right now it's like prime time for the devices. So about the lagginess here, hopefully we won't run into any issues. I can see that I'm looking at about it's wanting us to plug in a router or move it closer. I'm trying to, I don't know if my 3D printer is interfering with this or what. So we have a booster, and I'm just trying to make sure the booster signal's good. It looks like my signal's a lot better there. I just opened the door to the room, and my signal's a lot better from the booster. So hopefully that works it out. I know, it's crazy.
Wi-Fi was by the door.
All right, so back to where we were. So which Star Wars movie did you see first, Brian?
The first one, New Hope. I was like 4. Took me to a drive-in movie theater in Florida somewhere. and I think I fell asleep at the trash compactor, and then it was what it was. So my mom, I went with my mom and my aunt, I think first. They just what's the word? Evangelized everybody they could get their hands on. Let's go. And we watched like 3. We went back in and watched it 3 times in a row the following day or something. So, yep, it was A New Hope for me.
That's awesome. Which character, out of all the movies and TV shows and everything, which one is your favorite Star Wars character?
It's weird. It changes over time, I would say. I was 5 years old. Luke Skywalker was the hero, so he was my favorite. Then I got cool in my older age, too cool for the room at 9, 10, 12 years old, whatever, and Han was the cool guy, and he got the girl, and all that. So, but I think in a weird way, I love Sith characters and their sabers particularly and all that, but not like as a character to love. I think Obi-Wan, in my mind, in my brain, I'm picturing Obi-Wan like with the most screen time. Like he's there, he's a strong soldier. He just does his best to do what he can to teach. He's like fatherly figures. We saw him with Leia. He's, doing the right thing. He's a good guy, good character. And I love the arc that they've taken with even the new editions of, what happened before, before New Hope in the desert and all that. That's intriguing stuff to me. So I guess I'm going to say Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan is a cool character. There's no doubt about that. So what's your favorite color lightsaber, Brian?
Favorite color? I don't really know.
Favorite color lightsaber.
Orange is cool. I like orange because it's not really popular, I guess. How about that?
Yeah.
Got me?
That works. What yeah. So do you have a favorite hilt? Which hilt is your favorite?
Again, I don't know if I have a favorite particular hilt. I just like things. I'm drawn lately. The Inquisitor sabers are really cool. I don't know why. I guess it's like a symmetry thing. Maybe I find that appealing.
Yeah.
And the shape by itself, it's unique. So I don't know. I do have, of the ones that I have, I don't know. The one on the highest hook is the I think it's from it's the second sister. I think it was from not Saber Trio. Who's the other ones over there? Don't I have this written down? Oh, the Pox store? Yeah, I got it from the Pox store. So yeah, I got that, put that together, and that's all custom chassis. I printed all the chamber, 2 dual chambers. Jimmy shot the Jimmy Saber Junk. He gave me like the base of the chassis for that and an STL file, but it was for the other company. I think it was for the Corbanth version. So I modified that, made it work for the Pox Store one. So that's like my pride and joy. I don't know. I like that. And things with edges and, like a plain old flashlight just doesn't cut it for me. Something about doodads and greeblies and interesting shapes are cool. I love the grip on there's an Arcan, I think Jawas did it. Is like an Arcan. It's got this really, it's not just a round grip, it's like form factor for your hand. It's really comfortable. So I don't know, hilts like that. I do like the Bane MK2 from Saberforge, that kind of look. Most aggressive, I would say, something like that. Yeah, things that have character. So I don't have it. I'm not going to say, yeah, Kylo Ren's, that's not my favorite saber. So that's all I'm going to say, because I'm not going to talk to the host with it glowing on the wall behind him that I don't love that saber. But yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Nobody's perfect, Brian.
I just can't do it.
Anyway, that the cool thing about this is, like, I think I was a Star Wars fan in my youth, and I remember when the Phantom One, those streamers came out, because I remember back in the day, when Phantom Menace was coming out, internet streaming was just beginning, You know, they could do like a 5-second clip. And I remember seeing these 5-second clips of Darth Maul igniting that you know, the dual bladed lightsaber, and I was like, oh my God. And you know, you could see his face in that red and black and how crazy it was. And I was like, this is awesome. And there's that one scene, and it was from TFA, when Kylo Ren is marching through the woods and he pushes out the saber and ignites the blades like that. And that's when I was like, oh man, I love this. That's a great saber. That's almost as cool as Maul's. So, you know, I do like the cross guards, but I get why people don't like it. I mean, I've wheeled it around, and certainly you can cut your own hand off with the quillions if you're not careful and know what you're doing. So it is kind of a stupid design from that perspective. But
I think installing them is tough. I have a crossguard 2.0, I think, like Corband crossguard 2.0 in the box. I got it from Daniel Moran, and it's got all the whatever you call it, the accuracy like upgrade kit with the right screws and the right tube and all that stuff.
Yep, from KR Sabers.
Sitting in the box. I think Fernando's got how I did my crossguard, like a build thread on the Crucible.
Yeah, he's got them on the TRA Custom Saber Shop, and I don't know if he published those on the Crucible. Fernando did. I don't know if he's still here, but I don't know if Fernando published that on the Crucible. But he, I wished I had looked at his the KROR crossguard thread he did on TRA before I installed mine, because it would have saved me a lot of headache. But yeah, I've installed the, you know, of course, that one behind me. This is a Black Series conversion. This was actually Teensy Saber. Oh yeah. So this is Teensy Saber 26650 NeoPixel. I actually did these in 2017, and that is still my install from 2017 with Teensy Saber, and that thing is still bad to the bone as far as installs go. I mean, it still works great. It'll sit there and run back in behind me forever. It's got a 26650 battery in it. Yeah, so it'll go. And that's Frederick's original Fireblade. That's not Fernando's stuff off Fernando's blade style library. That is Frederick's original, you know, Fireblade, which really I love.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it looks
but at any
good.
rate, that's enough about that. What about least favorite hilt? I mean, you kind of already alluded that it might be the cross.
No, it's definitely not.
It's okay if it is, Brian.
No, I would say, I'd tell you, it's not. I wouldn't have one if I didn't like it. You know what I mean? And what I definitely don't have is an Emperor Palpatine saber hilt. That does nothing for me. And
I don't think you're the first person that said that.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not edgy at all. And he's supposed to be the ultimate villain or whatever it is. So that's probably a good answer.
It looks
that one. Yeah.
I think the last answer about Palpatine's was like, it looked like something else.
Yeah. Like yeah.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. We'll try and keep it G-rated tonight, and we're trying to fly through these so we don't miss the Ahsoka premiere. But
cool.
So, when did you find out about custom lightsabers? What year did you find out about them? Do you remember?
It was, like I said, I think about 2016. I picked up an eBay listing for four Ultra Sabers. 2 of them came installed with like Obsidian 3 and Nova Sound something boards, but it had a voice menu and you could change the flicker amount, and it was cool for me. When I first got it, this is how it works. I first got my first saber, and here are these 2 empty, what I thought to be double A, battery packs, like Radio Shack battery pack. The Custom Saber Shop has them, little spring-loaded plastic 2 battery thing. So I throw in 2 AA batteries. I turn it on, and the light's not working. I try the other one, same problem. And I'm writing to the guy, and he'd be like, dude, it doesn't work. I'm sorry to say, but like, what am I doing? Or how can we fix this? He's like, give me a list of things. He's like, make sure and he listed like whatever lithium ion battery. I was like, oh, does this take 3.7 volts? Okay. So yeah, I first got, and I still have one, and I put like a Nano Biscotti V3 in there. I have a whopping 2 fonts or something on there. Actually, I have this. First thing I bought after those stupid eBay things was this epic. It's Saber Forge. You know what I could do? I got this over here.
Well, we can take me out of there.
Oh, that's all you. Anyway, this hilt has this. So check this out. This is how we used to roll. We didn't have chassis and 3D printing, right? First of all, I have this speaker just hanging out the bottom. This is the way. Let me see if I can get this over here close enough you could see. So this speaker sits in the back of this plastic tube. This is like a plastic tube that the blade foam comes in or something. It's like a USPS thing. And I put the speaker in there, and this holds all the electronics. There you go. Clean battery under there, board there. This is an extra board. I actually wired this with, can you hear me? I don't know if I'm cut out. Wait, Tom, I don't hear you anymore.
No, we hear you fine. I'm
you're
muted
there?
because I'm off the screen.
I got you, man.
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
This little 1-inch board, I don't know if you can see that in there. I soldered 3 little trim pots to this board, and I put 3 MOSFETs across it, and I drew out this whole little circuit and printed out. That was color control because I didn't want to just have, I didn't want to be locked into the one color. So I literally just built my own. It's just resistance. You just add more resistance on one of the channels, like take out some red and it starts turning green and cyan. So that's like the first kind of stuff I got into. That was the question, right? When did I start this? What
that's
did I do?
awesome. Kind of like when did it all start? So what lightsabers, Brian, do you currently own? Can you show them off? Show off some of your sabers.
That's a big task. So the problem I have is that I see like, oh, that's a great unique design. I want to get that. And I'll then have it and not get around to doing anything with it. So in the box, unfortunately, I have more than I should, but I have a good amount of all of the Regis, and it's got etched shrouds from NG Sabers. That cyberpunk thing that went around, I got that etching on the Regis thing. I have the Ray Saber staff thing in a box, Corban one, sanded, weathered, looks great. I have a flame of all those things. The flame was like, it's still people waiting. It's over 2 years, and this one guy is making them and machining them from scratch. Somehow I ended up being on one of the first to get the complete thing, because first he sent out just the middles, and then the whole like shroud part that goes over came out next. I have a flame. I have like the Force Awakens 2 light one. I've got the only thing that's cool, I won in a raffle with South Shore Sabers. I won a rose gold flagship, and it was installed, and he threw a leather wrap on it and everything. So I have that. I've got a 3D printed Devil's Kiss from Dave Anders. Thing is sick. Looks like it's been so weathered. It's great. It's amazing detail work that guy does. Have a bad axe from Genesis. Rob. That's a black bad axe. Actually, I think I have the black. Yep.
Genesis Custom Sabers.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here's the flip cameras real quick. Here's the black bad axe with a crystal,
man, that's sweet.
Shard, crystal shard 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything with that. This was my first Proffie build ever. It's kind of historic.
Oh.
The Blind Knight
and Jarrus.
Is, solos hold make so this emitter comes off. You can take it apart. So some of the first thing I dove right in with the hardest thing. I was like, I'm gonna put in a ProffieBoard. I'm gonna have multi-pin piece pogos here to separate this thing. I made my own can't see it in there. What am I looking for? Anyway, I make my own the equivalent of a NPXL. So yeah, I got yelled at for doing that by the Russian bear, but you know, and I got whatever this chassis was. Got a battery life. There you go. This was the goth. Let me see if I can get it on camera. You know, it was a goth printed thing, but I did it up. I put this cool like mesh section over there. I just threw a bulb in there. You know, standard 3mm LED. That's my whopping cool crystal chamber. But yeah, I dove into that, and it's got the plungers. It was the first thing I had to figure out how to get plungers to work. So I built custom plunger buttons. I'm taking like pens apart to get springs out and stuff. Yeah, so I did a blind night, weathered it. That was fun. I was like very hesitant to take the Scotch-Brite and sanding to brand new aluminum. I'm used to like clean helts. I got this original pair of KROR Ahsokas.
Oh, those are awesome.
Yeah, they had a really small emitter space, but I had to hone that out. You open these guys up. There's also a Nano Biscotti 3, actually.
I'm going to take me out of there so we can see that full screen.
Sure. Sorry, the lighting is kind of crap. How's that? See that? So that was that. And again, two fonts. Look, I pulled an LGT. I wired this LED to the speaker terminal. So it's a cheap way to get another channel out and flicker a crystal in there. So that did that. And it's an old tri-free with just, I think, white, and blue, probably. I don't know, white, something. So, yeah, that was like I jumped right in, man. Crammed. All right, Ahsoka, it's almost your turn. Stop trying to interrupt me here.
They want to see the flame.
Oh, dude, the flame is still, it's literally just in the box. You can just go to the website. If you go to the flame website and you look at it, that's more assembled than I have. But yeah, that'll be fun. And then I got this Star Killer. I think this was the SK Rogue 2. And
that's awesome.
Custom bent these, that's real copper. I got some 1" by 1" copper from like Etsy or whatever. And I put it on my car floor jack handle with a like a radiator clamp, and I just screwed it down to bend them, and it was the exact diameter. It was perfect. So then I just sanded down the edge a little, and the weathering came out really cool. Now it's old, and it's like starting to patina and stuff or whatever. The copper, it looks great. And then I got I think like this Goth 3D printed Shapeways thing. Went crazy with the silver marker, and crystal chamber was cool. It's like whatever those 3D printed. What do you call it? Like the brass 3D print. This is terrible.
Oh yeah, that's the one that Proplicator made, I think.
Yeah, like V2 or whatever the numbering was. Sorry, this is for an AV guy. It's hilarious, right? Look at these terrible camera shots I'm getting here. Anyway. There's a crystal chamber. And I don't know what else I got. I can grab these. And this will be enough. So this is the Watto's Junkyard.
Oh, yeah.
Massage Ventures. This pair is the most expensive, most money I ever spent on empty hilts. I think these were like $1,500 for the pair. Oh, and man. I don't know. I know there's a solos version stuff, but I can't imagine anything just clean. It's just super cool. And this was the first. What I did with this, I did a blade plug charger. See, that's an RCP port. But I totally cheated. I used a double pole, double throw switch. So on one side of it is the data pin, and on the other side is a positive battery lead from the blade. So when I turn the Saber off with the kill switch, it does connect the battery, and when I turn it on, it connects the data instead. So instead of just switching between something and nothing and killing things, it switches between either being the data or being a battery charge back into the thing. I don't know.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't condoned, but yeah, I did that. This is like a custom turbine. KY Sabers makes these.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really kind of cool. I love white and black, so we painted it like that. He's nuts with these, like, all the details, really cool. So this is the kind of stuff I like, unique, individual stuff. This is a Nevin Varner Space Junk custom, what do you call them? Cornhorn.
Speeder bike saber, speeder grip saber.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful. I got like these bent on the image. Like I just snapped this thing off and like yanked it off the bike. So that's really cool. Haven't installed that. Haven't installed this. Haven't installed that. The ones I did install. This is cool. This is an ID7. Terrible that I don't know the guy's name. We can put it in later, dude. These ID7s are super cool with Yokin Kanama.
Oh yeah,
there it is, the cantina bearing. So that came out cool. Is this actually on? Oh, I'm freezing. So yeah, I'm frozen, aren't I?
No, you're actually you're moving fine.
Oh really? It's terrible to me. So yeah, there's some sabers. A little bit of history of what I started with, what I like, what I have, what I enjoy. So yeah.
That's cool, Brian. Thank you for showing us that stuff. I know everybody was like, "Holy crap, that one KY saber was sick." That was kind of my speed. I love that one.
Yeah, it's not a hard install, it looks like. You know who's good with that? Gary. Yeah, God, I just bumped into the mic.
Yeah, Peacekeeper's Armory.
There's some. I'm just gonna look up. I'll look up some installed versions, or maybe I'll just send it to like Tim McCarthy and be like, "Here, do some magic."
Yeah, here you go, Tim. Have at it.
Guy.
From Tierfon Orbital.
Totally. Looks like his stuff looks great.
Yeah,
So
he's really good.
that's my little temporary collection of stuff.
So what soundboards have you used like the whole time you've been in Sabers? I mean, start naming them off. Like what all have you installed, modified, used, fixed, tore out?
Not a lot. I got those. I had that one Obsidian, one Nova Sound card. Those are still in those Ultra Sabers. Obviously, I didn't do anything with them because you can't even look at them. They're covered in black, epoxy. Don't look at our technology. So yeah, I had them. I did get an Igniter 3 from Scott DeBoer, and it was the first here's an editing interface app. Here's and the way it worked, not very much different than what we deal with now in Proffie. It had a lot of the same kind of concept. You had switching sounds, like when you switch from one color to the other. The changeover sound was its own thing, like a little mechanical gear thing. He actually gets credit for the first spoken word test font. Like I have my test font that I test. Okay, is it doing blast? Is it doing clash? Is it starting begin lockup? Is it doing lockup? And just speaking those words and being silly is a really great tool. So I made a test font for Proffie stuff, and that's what I use. And I have a test blaster font for when you're using blasters. But Scott had the original one, and yeah, I have some videos of trying stuff out, or I think I had a question for him. I was like, "Watch this." You got one in your hand?
I'm actually working on your.
Are you a Jedi?
Seismic shot. Smooth. It's the test font.
There you go.
Stand by for ignition. Out. Swing, 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 slash, swing, clash. Begin
Yep.
lock up.
So helpful, right? Now you know what it's doing.
Post off. Well, that was fun.
That's my Proffie 3.7 Saber. I think you and I were the only ones that built them because Fernando got all tied up. I think me, you, Cal, and maybe Frederick built one.
Yeah, Matt McGeary did too, but he
yes,
fried on him. Yeah, that was sad. He's like, "Well, I'm the official first person to blow out a Proffie 3."
Well, the funny thing was there for a while,
like
me, you, and Cal were the only 3 people on the face of the earth, maybe Frederick, that had functioning Proffie 3 Sabers for 2 years.
Yeah, it was a long time. That's the one I was telling you right here. This
that's your workbench saber.
Yeah. It's currently I'm doing the blade in, blade out detection stuff. So you don't have to use blade detect, like hard wiring latch stuff. just a real-time blade ID. So no matter when you shove a blade in, it knows which one it is, what to switch to, all that kind of stuff. So it's, yeah, sitting on my bench. It's been getting blade in, blade out a lot. Poor thing. Oh. Anyway, it's fine.
You know, another thing you did, Brian, that I thought was real innovative, which is on that Saber too, which is you took that seismic charge sound font, and you kind of modified that for smooth swing, and then you created a blade style that went with the Preon, where that charge goes out and detonates like, Jango Fett shipped it in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, that blade style is still, I think, and this is no offense to Fernando. Fernando's still on here.
Oh, please.
But
I don't think he'll be
blade style.
He knows what he could do.
That blade style was just sick. It was absolutely sick. I still think that's probably one of the coolest blade styles ever created. Was that one? I still am shocked. Every time I light that one up, I'd look at it like, you had to have been doing some kind of drugs to even be thinking this was a possible thing.
I was taking that. I was editing. I had the frame by frame going over here, and I was just like, how large is that explosion now? Okay, do some math, figure out what size bump to make, blend it in the net, whatever it was. I literally frame by frame and millisecond by millisecond of the sound timed it out. It's just like a long TR concat, sequence of show this bump, get a little bigger, flash, come back. And it's very long and it's very memory intensive, but nobody's going to hopefully expect to have 20, 50 font, presets on your Saber if you're going to play with something like that. I mean, there's nothing hard about just swap it out, put that on, play with it for a while, put your 40 back on, and you're good. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be memory saving. It was just meant to be accurate. So that's the price I paid and just made a big fat style. But I appreciate the praise. Thank you. I'm glad I did put a lot of work into that. It's a lot of hours. It's always a lot of hours. It's always like 11 to 3 a.m. at least. And then what's another day of work without only 3 hours sleep? Here we go.
Yeah, I know. I walked in the door tonight right before we went live, and I'm like, here we go. Pushing everything to the last second. And of course, as soon as we leave here tonight, we're all going to watch Ahsoka. Ahsoka is going to premiere when we go off. So at any rate, we'll try to get through some more questions here before Ahsoka comes on. So we are about 40 minutes in, so we got about 20 minutes left to go here. So I guess
rapid fire mode, go.
Which soundboard do you prefer?
Oh yeah, the soundboards I used, right. We stopped at Igniter and went sideways. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which soundboard do I use now? I would have to say this open source thing. This guy made this Saber board that's started using like these teensy boards and made it sound. And now he's got his own line, and it's open available design. It's called a proffieboard because he's Professor. That's his username. So he made a proffieboard. Yeah, so I'm a Proffie guy, and
we should show that video. Proffieboard, of course. The Proffieboard, of course. The Proffieboard.
Well, someone asked me how do you pronounce it, and there was a debate back and forth. It's Proffie, and God bless Jeff. Jeff is always going to be a Proffie pronunciator.
Yeah, Birch, like he pronounces it like he's from Canada. It's a Proffie. I'm putting a Proffie in the Saber.
Fun. So then I wanted the man himself to vocalize the name of the board, and there it was. So I just stuck it on loop, and in case he had any questions, that's the answer.
Well, the funny thing about that was, it's like that wasn't the only video, because also like his detonator is his thermal detonator video, because the one you used was his Obi Kenobi Saber, the K4 that had the marble in the back of it. That's the video you used.
Zigzag blade.
Yeah. That's crazy. Frederick's brain, on drugs or whatever. I mean, Frederick's not on drugs. It's just you'd think he is because he's so smart. He comes up with all that stuff.
True.
But seismic. He actually did a thermal detonator too. And when he did the thermal detonator video, he goes, and I put a proffieboard in here, and I was like, proffieboard, because the funny thing is, like, everyone was asking him, well, how do you pronounce it? And he's like, well, I'm not going to say how you pronounce it. We'll leave it up to everyone's imagination.
It's open source. It's name it how you want, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't care what you call it, proffieboard, whatever. But Frederick definitely says proffieboard.
Yeah, he definitely does. He does.
But at any rate, that was funny. So yeah, the soundboards. Did you ever mess around with teensy sabers, or just did you get into it?
No, I jumped in. Yeah, it was already a proffieboard. It was 1.5, and I didn't know anything. Matt McGarry was very active. He had a fork and that's what turned into the color change fork that he collabed with Fernando, and
Yeah,
that was great.
3.0.
That was sort of the beginning of, hey, look, you can make contributions and change things, or make your own copy and do whatever you want with this code. And it seemed very viable. That it was like, hey, I love reverse engineering things and be like, how is that doing that? Oh, check this out, and learn and make it your own version. That's really cool. So, yeah.
That's how I I had to reverse engineer the battery meter on the OLED displays when I did my Proffie 1.5 lightsaber, which was the test lightsaber for 1.5. It was a Graflex and it had an OLED on it. I squeezed an OLED into Gauss chassis, which was crazy because that chassis is already tight. And I did squeeze an OLED in there, and I'm like, man, I want the Rebel logos to be the battery meter in this thing when you open it up. And me and Frederick were back and forth on the TRA for hours about how I could do that, and I reverse engineered it and still didn't understand what he was saying, but I actually figured out how to do it. And on the Proffie Blaster, I was able to get the the Empire logo as your battery meter. I got the Imperial cogs on that thing, same method, but it was still what I learned. But the cool part about open source is as you learn it, you don't forget it, and you have stuff in the can, on your computer that you can rehash and reuse. And how did I do that? Like, even if you don't remember, you go back and look at what you did, and you're like, oh, okay, I got it.
Absolutely.
Cincy says coffee, not Kofi.
Who?
Cincy.
Yeah. Coffee.
Let's all work on that together. So do you duel?
So it would be a prof board.
Do you duel with lightsabers?
I do not duel. No. So
what
the
about
only
flow?
dueling my sabers have ever. I don't flow. I don't dance. I don't swing. I'll cut my own arm off if they were real. I did one video. It's a duel. You previewed it somewhere.
Yeah, with the third sister.
It was the second sister hilt, right?
Yeah.
And I'm doing this, great, and then whoop, took off an arm. So no, I don't do any of that. And the only dueling or collision any blades have had is either just tapping them together, test a clash, or I let my kids, those original 4 Ultra Sabers that I got, go ahead, have at it. Take them in the backyard, smash whatever you want. They smash each other up. That was the only dueling I've ever done. I've never tested a blade against a tree or hit anybody with it. I've dropped them. That's about the most impact my sabers have seen. So that's just me.
So out of all the installers out there, and who do you think has like really done the most with the Proffie board, the most creative installer that you've seen so far that's really used the features?
I have to give Russell at Wade Sabers a nod towards that. He reaches out a lot. He did the stuff like when you take like Savvy's Workshop, I guess, does this. You stick in a different color crystal and the blade turns that color or whatever it is. So he wanted to do blade ID to stick in a different crystal in the chamber, and it would change the behavior of the saber. So that was unique. He does a lot of accent LEDs. So does other guys, Cantina guys. Programming wise, would be my opinion of taking advantage of the Proffie board. You could stick up whatever the hilt looks like, however bright your blade is, all that. You can go board to board to board. But using it for the amount of data pads it's got, the way you can sub blade things, do stuff like that. Like I said, off the top of my head, I know I've helped Russell get some of that figured out, and he takes it. He just is amazing with his installs. They look great. I know Tim McCarthy's doing stuff with. He did some OLED magic. He did some a lot of accent LEDs and stuff like that. And Jeremy, of course, he's doing custom hilts, but he always has a creative idea what to do with an accent LED or sound. People pay attention to sound design, in your chassis and how much depth you've got in your hilt. Is it ported? Is it sealed? That stuff's cool. So anybody who pays attention to details like that and install instead of just slapping it in a tube and trying to sell it or something like that, they deserve respect. I think that's cool. I can admire that in a saber installer.
Yeah, I think a big one that goes unsung is Gary. We were talking about him before. Lord, I can't remember the name of his company right now, but he did a blind night that was crazy because he was using blade detect and pin detect. So when you take the top of the saber off, it wouldn't be functional anymore.
Gary,
yeah, from Peacekeeper's
Morrison?
Armory.
Gary Morrison.
Yeah, no, it's not Gary Morrison. It's Gary. I can't remember his last name, but he's from Peacekeeper's Armory.
Yeah.
He's really good.
He did a beautiful blind night. I was totally. I don't know if that was at the same time I did mine, but it was inspiring to even consider maybe I want to redo this. But the locking J channel and stuff like that was beautiful. Yeah, it was. It did a chamber in, chamber out sound or whatever. Or, you put the emitter on, then it works as a saber. Else it's like your blade out stuff. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he was building these high dollar sabers, and initially when he got into it, he was rolling out stuff like we all were, and then he was like, nah, I'm just going to do really high end, long term project stuff, and you could tell that the stuff he was taking on was, very expensive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've done a very expensive hilt, with the Mentor Graflex chassis.
You're in that list. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know that I could do that, full time where I just did that because it was so intensive. It was stressful.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be stressful. It's got to be fun.
Yeah, and I know Jeremy's done the Grandmaster Graflex chassis solo sabers, and I mean, you don't see Jeremy churning those out just because they're a lot of work. And it's not just with installing and putting it together and building it and weathering it, but then it's with programming all the different functionality that's required of those complex chassis. It really is time consuming. I don't think people really appreciate how time consuming all that is. Hence why they're asking you questions about, hey, Brian, I'm trying to get the saber to do this. How do I do that?
Yeah. I know. I remember when I built something, that EvoFlex, I spent COVID teaching myself how to do Fusion 3D and make a chassis for my, those guys, the EvoFlex. Anyway, after spending 3 months on that, I feel like I spent an additional 3 months just coding a custom cool config, making different options, work on it, revamp it. No, I want this instead. So yeah, programming can take as long as, but that's part of it. It's like, if you enjoy customizing it, it's really all about customization, I think, is the appeal of this platform of ProffieBoard. And because you can be creative and weather things however you want and design chassis however you want. But if you're going to put in a ProffieBoard, then there's an extra cool, fun element of customizing it. Yeah, learning some code can help. You don't need to do it. But that's an avenue that's available. It's just cool that there's open, there are open opportunities to learn stuff and to, learning stuff's good. It's good to be knowledgeable.
It's always good.
Yeah.
So, what about your favorite lightsaber manufacturer? Any companies or a specific person out there that makes the lightsabers come to mind?
No, I'm kind of not a big box store guy, but I'll buy hilts, the ones that look cool. As of lately, that's been Shadow Foil Props. Sam's designed a couple of things, and Phoenix Props. I've got the Ezra Blaster combo thing. Cool.
Yep. Staple
Corbett, all the 89 sabers for character hilts and stuff seem cool coming from Corbett. I'm fine with that. The Depa Baloba looks cool. I'm not super picky about accuracy. It's I'm gonna look at it on a shelf and it should say who that is and look cool. Have an interesting design, and I'm happy with it. So I got that Arcan from Jawas. It's just the coolest hand grip, and the open exposed chamber is a cool design you can show off if you want. So not anything particular. I mean, I love the fact that people are machining and building their own hilts. I think anybody that can get into milling and machining and literally start from a chunk of aluminum is just, total respect and props for that.
Yes,
so I would say any of that. Who did the ignition? Who did that ignition hilt? Anyway, it's
I
got
don't
the brand.
remember, but they're getting ready to recreate Ozzy's workshop saber. Did you see that?
Oh, I did see that. Oh, somebody's gonna do a run of something like that. Wow.
Well, yeah. Do you remember his saber with all the layers of shrouds on it? That had
yes.
Oh yeah, they're
Super
recreating
cool.
that. It's going to be available before Christmas, and it's the same one that did ignition sabers, the ignition sabers. So that is going to be awesome. Yeah, TJ. What's his last name? Solo Sabers.
isn't TJ Sigmore?
Yep, TJ Sidgmore. And then the Subversion was the name of the hilt you're talking about. And now he's
yeah.
Yep, and now he's gonna do Ozzy's workshop that
That's
they're
cool.
recreating that hilt. And I'm like, oh my God, because you would have paid that hilt uninstalled, in my opinion, was probably worth over $1,000 just the hilt, with all the work that he did on it. Because man, I can appreciate how much work he did on it. But now they're going to be able to recreate it, in a factory, and it won't be as cool as his hilt with the layers of shrouds. Yeah. But my guess is it's still going to be pretty freaking cool replica of it. And I know I will be a customer of it.
That's a cool design. Looks great.
So baselit or NeoPixel?
I'm always doing NeoPixel. I haven't had, I have a brand new I bought a Senza, and because I planned on gutting it anyway, it came with this gorgeous blade, and blades used to be my mirror, my plasticine innards are exposed, and I've got glue, and I didn't like empty blades ever in the first place. So baselit, whatever. But those are the ones the kids can smash outside, so they're fine. And not going to retrofit old sabers to. You know what I did get? When I got one of these, I should throw this in something. One of these, I think this is a stock pixel to Tri-Cree little adapter thing.
Yeah,
it does work. I haven't checked how's the color and how's the distribution, how's the angle on the lens, all that stuff. I'm so happy to put behind. I have a whole toolbox full of heat sinks and lenses and replacement dies for Crees, and that's great. But
hey, the Tri-Cree still come in handy for projects like this. This got a Tri-Cree in it, so
that's cool. You see the laser? Jeremy stuck a laser in the blaster.
Yep, I saw that. Actually, the Tri-Cree I think is a perfect solution for a blaster if you can fit it in, because it's so bright and it's just perfect.
Sure. Yes, for a saber, I would say NeoPixel.
Oh yeah. NeoPixel for lightsabers, 100%. I actually have one in-hilt LED saber left. Everything else I've converted to NeoPixel. Favorite sound font.
I don't have an answer for that. I mean, it goes all over the place. I loved all the grayscale stuff that came out. I can totally speak to the accuracy and the work and dedication like Jesse at Kyberphonic puts in. Just the fact that he has material from making his own sounds. That's how you do it. And that's super cool. Between the buzz of the TV, or last night he was on with Sam from Grayscale and Jesse were, streaming, building a sound font, just hanging out. And he pulled up all these sounds of arc welder. I think I remember seeing the video. He had a friend, a relative was doing the arc welder, and he's recording it. The emergency life vest from an airplane, when you pop it, it goes. It's got this dual tone to it. Just great sounds. Out there field recording, that is a sound engineer. And I know he does music, and I can relate and appreciate the type of music he likes and stuff. So props for Jesse. Anything he does, really. The collabs with him and K-Sith. I think I'm wearing a K-Sith shirt. That's Second awesome. Sister accent swings are probably, I would say that as far as sounds go. But I appreciate everybody's stuff. I love out of world stuff, canon stuff, non-canon stuff. Mountain Sabers got not Battlestar Galactica, but old 70s TV shows, sci-fi shows turned into fonts. Genius. It's great. I like the fonts I've made. I have, a couple that I just came up, made some sounds, add sounds, and ultimately I'm the only one I expect to ever use it. And then I hand it out. Here you go, have one. I charged $2 or something, or a couple of them cost one. I did a Portal sound font. That was a lot. So there's no way there's one favorite. I'll say the test font. How about that? Because it's the most useful.
It's the test font.
It's the test font. That's right.
So funny, Brian. That one was awesome for sure. So, trying to get into the last little questions here. I know we're kind of approaching an hour, but have you ever machined your own hilt, or have you ever built an MHS saber?
Nope, never have.
No MHS.
Everything I've bought has been a kit. Oh, maybe I had no. I never. I looked at the ASP builder or whatever, came up, give me this emitter, give me this claw, give me this thing. but I think that was a Saber Forge thing. Custom Saber Shop was just my go-to for blade foam, blades, and bits and pieces. I never bought a kit or a hilt, and no, I never did any kind of machining of anything. Could get into it, but I'm not gonna.
Bobby said he likes your NYPD sirens and that blade style.
Oh
That was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. So that's classic. I'm just coming home from work or whatever, walking around the city, and there's nonstop. You can pick your siren and find any plethora amount of them. So yeah, recorded them, brought them home, and then just turn the blade into a light bar. It goes across the top of a cop car. That was fun.
So
that's one of those challenges. Like, oh, I'm going to turn this into a font. I go home and in like 20 minutes, I got a blade font. I got the sound. I just throw it in and it works on the blade. That's fun. That's like, spontaneity of just go home and do something, whip it up. That's fun.
That's awesome. The funny thing is I have made some sound fonts for sabers, and I have one customer that he's always on me to make these custom sound fonts with custom music. He even had Britney Spears song on one of my lightsabers with a pink blade. And I think in the early days of me installing lightsabers, and he's still a big customer. In fact, I got one of his sabers over on my bench right now, and he's a 501st Legion guy. But I can make sound fonts, but I do not have the equipment or the computer programs to do it well.
Yeah.
But
I
can
some
make
experience.
them.
Yeah. It's not technically impossible. Anybody could really do it, but if you're familiar with, digital workstations, recording, doing music, or anything like that, it's just recording some sound. Yeah, it's a piece of cake. Mono. It's easy.
So do you have a favorite YouTube channel you watch in the Saber community, since we're on YouTube?
I am subscribed to many things. So anything that pops up, I'll tend to click and watch it. Like right here, I've got Saber Nerds episode, NoSloppy at Megtooth Sith. I should go watch that.
Yeah, and I will fix your link. So by the way, everybody, Brian Connor has his own YouTube channel, and he's got tons of videos, including a lot of writing your own OLED animations, how to do that. Yeah. And I'll make sure that we link Brian's channel, because the link that I had on there didn't work. So when I have a pinning live video, they're harder to edit, like on my phone when I'm on the run. But now that it's going to be published after we finish going live tonight, I'll be able to edit that address on there. Bobby Susanbach brought that to my attention that the link wasn't working. So I'll fix the link on Brian's YouTube channel, and everybody needs to like and subscribe Brian's YouTube channel, because he's got tons of helpful content on his YouTube channel too.
Most of that stuff is either is actually or originated from answering somebody's question about something, like, how would I do this, or how do I edit this? And I say, let me just make a video. It'll be easier. And then I'll make it. And then because I had to share it via YouTube, I'll just turn it on to public. Here, everybody watch this if you want, whatever. Some of it's thematic, like intentional and thematic. Like, here's a how-to, because after I spent, a week figuring it out, while it's fresh in my mind and I got notes right here, let me pass this on, because, hey, this worked for me. If you want to try this, there you go. Have that info. So it's not like I'm not a channel. I don't think, what can I do for content next week? I got nothing to do with that. I have nothing to do with money. It's just literally I had to have a platform which I could share videos from. And since it's there as a repository in a library, have at it, Some of it's very helpful, I suppose, if you don't know anything.
The funny thing, Brian, and you haven't really talked about it. I mean, Brian does so much. So not only does he, help write code, he's making these cool blade styles. He's making sound fonts out of sirens, but he's also doing SMD rework, soldering, fixing, and repairing ProffieBoards and other soundboards. He's got videos on that. And
sorry, buddy. That's your bag of, hey, can you fix these at all? I haven't had a chance to get to them.
I don't care.
As you see, it's right here. Right here on my desk. Ready to be done.
It doesn't matter. I mean, even if you can just use them for parts, I don't care. Those were boards that were just lying around that were dead. You know what I mean? So even if we can only salvage 2 of them in that whole batch and the rest are parts.
Yeah. Yep. No problem. I'd love to do it.
Brian's got these skills, and like, I'm watching his videos, and I actually watched his videos and did some hot air rework myself, but I'm not as good as he is. But I'm learning. But like actually doing it on a soundboard while there's other components around, I'm not doing that. Not yet. But I have done some of the Kim Kanama PCBs were 15 neopixels, and those are awesome, and that's a lot of fun.
Those are super small. If you can do that, I mean, that's cutting your teeth on something hard, you know?
Yep.
Those
The 15-15s were tough.
You got to be a sniper, you know? Just exhale, don't breathe, double support your hand with the tweezers, the other hand, you know? Place it.
Well,
Okay,
the bad part was I had to place 20 of them in a circle, and they all had to be oriented on their pads right, and you couldn't touch any of them.
I know.
And then as you're heating them up, you can't let anything move. And
yeah, that's
I
tough.
got to work, and I was like, holy.
If it's doing multiples, you get the old frying pan or the skillet, and you fire it up, and you just watch them all go. They wiggle and settle into place. Turn off heat, take off. But hand soldering does. It's cool. It's a cool skill. It's fun. It's just like soldering anything else, just very small.
Well, I have to get into the magnifiers, you know, to do all that stuff. It's crazy.
Sure.
It's so small. I definitely have to be under huge magnifiers. So look, we're definitely up over an hour, and I don't want any of our viewers or Brian or me to miss the premiere of Ahsoka that's coming on. And, you know, I know we didn't get through all the questions, Brian, and there's so much more information about all the contributions you've made to the community that we didn't even get a chance to get to. But hopefully some of the viewers got to learn more about Brian Connor tonight, because you just see him answering everybody's questions on the internet. So it's been great having you. Last question, and then we'll let you go for tonight, is what is your favorite music that you listen to?
Oh, man.
I know, I put you on the spot.
Too.
We did this last night.
Impossible. Oh, we did do this last night. So yeah. I'll give you the same answer I did.
Favorite band of all time. No BS.
So hard.
This Metallica, Brian.
Sure. I mean, that would be fair. That would be a good escape. I listen to some obscure stuff. There's this it's basically the pioneering of electronic music. This guy Jack Dangers has a band, Meat Beat Manifesto, and you can look him up. But it's been them and this other offshoot that he produced, EBN. They do this syncopated, like tons of samples thrown in, just groove. I don't even remember what the genre was. Kind of like Chemical Brothers, but before that, that's for the longest period of time, I'd probably say I listened to like electronic sample-based music. But now it's all, and then I have like a ton of metal because you need that, and then I have, you know, smooth jazz when I'm in my car because it sounds great. So I'll really listen to anything. I'm not a country guy, but I do appreciate that it wants to make you cry every time you listen to it. Oh, and he's missing his girl, and it's heartfelt and great. Or it's mud on my tires and just having a good time. Good for them. I can't care. I don't like the chord progressions. It makes me crazy. So yeah, I'll listen to anything really. There's no way I could answer that question with like one thing ever.
I figured it was going to be difficult, but I knew from some of your pictures from high school, you definitely were into some of the same stuff that I was, which was like Iron Maiden.
Yeah, high school was
Metallica.
Yep. And I have it's hilarious. You know what's funny is that in high school, the Freaks clique or whoever, right? They would listen to The Cure and
Misfits,
Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, and Depeche Mode. And I was like, yeah, get out of here with that. And now, dude, I have such an appreciation for Depeche Mode. It's a really good music. Like, they're great musicians. There's such a cool tone to it. The recording quality is amazing. So like, not to have not given that a chance back in the day, I'm glad I've discovered that there's a lot of really good music that I just blew off. But yeah,
when we were growing up, there was definitely a lot of good music, Brian. We definitely had a lot of good music. But I wasn't listening to it either. I was wearing a jean jacket with Iron Maiden Killers on my back patch. That was on my back patch on my back. So
yeah, I had a Zeppelin vest. It was a denim vest with a Zeppelin 4 wizard with the lantern, whatever. That was the back. I hand drew the band. It's got each one of them's got a symbol. I put one on the back of the. Yeah, I wore like leather bracelets and bandanas and had long hair, very long hair.
I had long hair too. I actually had hair.
Yeah, good times, man. So I still feel like that at times, you know. I don't feel a day over 23 really, which is good.
I know it. I still feel the same as I did when I was young, and that's, I was telling Ella that the other day. I was like, I'm 52 years old, but I still feel the same as I did when I was 16, and she just doesn't get that, because she's so young. But you don't feel any different. You just have additional years tacked on to
That's right. A
That's
little
how you
more
do.
responsibility.
Yeah, a lot more responsibility.
But I'm a big kid. I mean, I will love to sleep late and play with lightsabers or do a Rubik's Cube or do anything. I'm a big baby. Hi.
Yep.
So I want to have fun. It's enjoying myself. Not selfishly, just, enjoyment. And I want to be happy and have fun. So I just
Well, Brian,
hang out.
it's been great having you on tonight, and I hope
So-
everybody in the Saber community got to learn a little bit more about you. And it's been tons of fun. And we may have to do this again because we didn't even get to all the questions. But we want to get everybody to Ahsoka because Ahsoka comes on here in about 50 minutes. So we want to make sure everybody has enough time to go watch the premiere of Ahsoka tonight and soak in new Star Wars that's coming on. So that'll be cool.
New sabers.
Yeah, new sabers maybe. So that could be, well, not maybe. I mean, I think we've already seen some new sabers in some of the previews. So it's going to be pretty exciting. And but Brian, thank you so much for everything you do in the lightsaber community, for helping out all those LGT buyers that proliferated. And I know it was crazy. And for everything that you do in the lightsaber community, on your YouTube channel, on the support groups, on the Crucible forums, on TRA. It's not just Frederick and Fernando. You play a big role in that too, and we all appreciate it. So thanks, Brian Connor, for coming on tonight. And hopefully everybody got to know Brian.
Ask me anything, anytime. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. And until next time, may the force be with you, or the dark side, as it were. Brian, hang on a second.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, as usual. I really appreciate y'all tuning in on my channel. And as always,